Did Isaac participate in practice today?
No.
No.
We got it. I'm not going to say what I don't expect it to be long term, but he took a good shot on that screen.
Yeah. Do you expect to have him Friday?
I think it's day to day, so but I do know it's not long, not separated, nothing crazy. But those can keep you out for a little bit.
Yep. How about Max? Did he go through everything?
Yeah, we practiced everything. Looked great. I mean, I'm just what I saw today, and again, I got to get to know him better. But his cutting's I'm really excited. That's the one thing. Obviously, he's competitive, all the intangibles, but I think he's been a great cutter in this system, which I think will help our offense.
With him, what do you need to see physically that makes you know that he's ready for game action?
It's really more. I've kind of seen it. It's more the feedback from him. How does he react from today's height? It really always comes down to not what I saw today, but how does he feel tomorrow? And when does he feel comfortable? The medical team feels kind of comfortable with it, but we're awfully close.
In the month of November, you guys were 20th in defensive rating. In December so far, I believe you're 4th. What have you seen that's been the biggest change on that front?
Yeah. Wonder how much of that is shooting luck.
Well, I mean, a lot of it is.
Did you look at it?
Well,
The
3-point
three-point
shooting, you
variance?
guys were, I think, 29th or 30th in November, and you're allowing like 32.9% in December so far. And it's a smaller sample size, obviously, but
let me be a coach and not try to put it on that. Let's try to put it on. We emphasized, contests more. We emphasize our switching, technique. With all the practice days we had, I felt like we even got into some training camps type teaching, and so you hope that translate. I did feel like the Brooklyn game, and I felt our switching was more aggressive than usual. Our communication was better, and our contests were better. You'd like to think it was what we did in practice carried over.
when you're talking about the aggressiveness with switching, is that a physicality thing?
Yeah, it's controlling the screener. So when the screener comes up, you got to be able to control him so they don't, you don't get the slip outs. And then I personally believe when you do switch, you don't switch flat, you switch up. So which is, some teams believe in that, some teams don't. They switch to contain. I think I like it more switch to shock, shock the ball. So they're kind of doing that. And that's a little different than what we've done here in the past. So still have a ways to go, but saw big progress in Brooklyn. But we do have things we're doing differently from Michael. So I still expect it to take some time. And again, the philosophy is let's hope this translates when the playoffs come.
You've talked about this a few times since you arrived, but you're about to get to a point where you have 11 guys who believe they should be playing, and they're probably right about that. So how comfortable are you consistently nightly playing 11?
We will play 11. Not saying that's definitely the case, but I'm like very, very open to it. And we're just gonna. It's funny every time we think we're getting to 11, something happens, and we're at 10. So it's a little bit cross that bridge when we come to it. But in my mind, possible we play 11, but not definite. It's really going to depend who's available.
Clearly wasn't the case in Brooklyn because you guys came out with a good rhythm. But the way that the schedule started when you played 17 games in the first month, and then you come around to now and you played 3 games in 14 days or something like that, how difficult is that to get used to and get back into a rhythm after you had that?
Yeah, I mean, because I was thinking, that game against Washington, like, I'd love to know what that was. Like, why do you go 15 for 51? Was it we spent 3 extra days in Miami? Was it 4 days in between they lose their rhythm? I will say these guys are used to playing every other day, and now you have that break. Now what we tried to do in practice is like simulate game situations. So it's just it's hard. I can't give you the like how could we have done that better? Sure. Because there was that when you go 15 for 51, there's something there. Yeah. Like we're too good of a shooting team, so whatever we do, I'm not sure we kept the guys in rhythm.
So while it's a good thing that you're getting guys back and there's rest and stuff like that, can you have too much rest or too much of a break?
Listen, I think we needed it, like, you know, in terms of when the schedule was to get guys healthy. I'd just say 4 days is harder to navigate than 3 or 2. That's all. But it's a big part of coaching. Like, how do we figure out the puzzle with the schedule? And we also have our sports scientists that, you know, they recommend a daily load, right? Like depending on where we are in the schedule. So I'm a personal believer in adhering by that, and because you could have 4 days in between and just go like old school, like super hard every day. But there's definitely a science behind how you want to approach those games. And of course you got what you don't want is getting guys hurt in practice, right? Like so, saying those 40 man, I was thinking, did we scrimmage enough? But I was a little cautious. Like, no, we don't want to like guys getting banged up in these 4 days. So I thought we found the right balance. We won the game, but it wasn't. I don't think we're in peak condition.
You've talked a lot about how much joy this team plays with, and they play at their best when they're having fun. A lot of the time this season, they've been kind of conservative with their celebrations. Over the last week, it's felt like they've come out with their personalities a little bit more.
Yeah.
Have you seen that? And then what is your take on the celebrations of what they've had going on?
I definitely, as long as it's never taunting, as long as the celebrations are within our group and celebrating our successes. I love it. I mean, they're a tight-knit group. I think the second unit roots for the first unit roots for the second unit. And that was part of the mission coming in here is just, it's a joyful game. It's a kids game. And I think this group is mature enough where they know not to cross the line. Like there's a time to work and there's time to enjoy and celebrate. So I think we've struck a good balance with that.
Do you think that can intensify some of the parts of the game, especially on the offensive end or even on the defensive end? If you get a big block or something, you hear it from your bench and you get
no doubt. I mean, you even see it with our three when we make like something we work on and sell, drive, kick, swing, and the guy hits a corner three. It's like, or we get a cut that we work that pumps us up, or a great switch, and we, Donovan had one on the opposite side. And he was physical to screener. He switched, he got the steal, and the whole bench got up. It was like, man, that's they know what we're emphasizing. They know what's important. They know what's wins. There's no reason why you can't celebrate that stuff.
Caris returned a couple weeks ago. You said get him into a rhythm. Now he's been in a rhythm for about 2 weeks. What's been working for him so far?
We talked about a little bit in New York. It starts with his defensive activity. I thought the other night he changed the whole game, and that's not the Caris LeVert I knew in Brooklyn. So like however that's happened, that's didn't come from me. He's driving himself with his defense, deflections, and I mean he's almost like frenzied out there on defense. It's like he comes in, it's like an electric shock to the team, and so that's it. And then he's cleaned up his shot profile. We all see it, right? Like it's like, man, he's embraced the catch and shoot. As talented as a creator as he is, he's understanding what efficiency looks like, and so all that combined, now he's one of the best net rating guys in the league, and it's really helped his value and then our team's value, like in terms of winning.
when Max does
This is the
return,
last question.
are there certain guys in the lineup that you do not want to touch their minutes at all?
None of them. That's the hard. Like, there's no one I can say out there like, oh man, let's get him out. You know, like so that's the hardest part of this job. But we're gonna have to make sacrifices. You know, we're gonna have to. You know, everybody's gotta understand we can't. You know, there's just not going to be enough minutes for everybody. And those are the conversations we'll have. My experience is it always kind of works out, like between injuries and schedule but I think our group's in a good enough place to handle whatever's coming down the pipe.